Welcome back. On Monday, a gun violence memorial will be installed at Bayfront Park. It will feature 3,000 vases, each one representing someone in Florida who died last year after being shot. The installation is being produced by Giffords, the group formed by former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was critically wounded and shot in the head in 2011. Giffords will be there on Monday, and so will former Congresswoman Debbie Murkowski-Powell, who is a senior advisor to the group. I spoke with Murkowski-Powell and the group's executive director, Peter Ambler, about how to rein in gun violence.
Let me start by saying that the gun violence epidemic that we're seeing in our country is a national crisis. It's affecting families, communities, it's affecting our way of life. We cannot continue to see children going to school in fear of their lives. Schools should be a safe setting where children are learning and parents should feel safe sending their kids. Families across America, whether Republicans, Democrats, Independents, everyone in America is tired. They are angry. They are demanding action from the White House, but definitely from Congress. We know that the White House can act alone. Senate Republicans have become a much stronger barrier now with their extreme policies blocking any type of gun violence reform. And unfortunately, what you're saying is true. It seems like there's a certain amount of numbness and apathy coming from Congress in Washington, D.C., but I can tell you that Americans are not numb. They are angry, they are demanding action, and that is why I'm so proud to be working with Giffords in making sure that we bring attention to this issue.
It seemed as if we took a few steps forward in trying to pass legislation and make certain moves. But if there is all this anger that Debbie just talked about, why aren't we seeing more action in Congress?
Well, there's no question that this country is experiencing, historic levels of polarization and, high levels of rank partisanship. You're seeing some of the worst elements of the far right elevated into elected positions. But that doesn't reflect a fundamental change in where the American people are at. You have 90% of Americans who support universal background checks. You have large majorities of Floridians who not only support universal background checks, but support the recently passed extreme risk protection order law. This is a country that's united on the issue of gun safety. But Americans are smart enough to understand the reason why you're not seeing action on gun safety, and that's because of the moneyed influence of the gun lobby, which has plowed millions upon millions of dollars into our elections. That's got to change, and we think that next week we're going to have the gun violence memorial up in Miami. It's a stark reminder of the 3,000 Floridians that died from gun violence last year and that die every year.
Well, let me just jump in. Let me just jump in though on that point, because you talk about the polling that you've done. 90%, abhor what they see is going on. They want action taken. But here's my analysis from a political standpoint, and I want to hear from both of you on this. While they may abhor it and they may want action, it doesn't rank high enough on their list of priorities to make it that single-minded issue that they're willing to vote on a candidate. How do you make this so single-minded for voters that this is the issue they vote on? Because until it is the issue they vote on, you're not going to see a change in members of Congress.
Jim, I actually don't agree with you. I can tell you that I have been talking to many people, especially here in South Florida, where this is their top issue. Child safety in schools is a top issue. As you probably have seen, Latinos, Latinas, we are disproportionately affected by gun violence. We are twice as likely, we have higher rates, twice as likely to be affected by gun violence than white non-Latino Americans. And what we've seen and what we have found is that close to 70% of Latina women want this to be the top issue in the next election for the candidates that they will be voting on. So we are seeing data that is showing us that Americans from all denominations, all political affiliations, all walks of life are united.
Peter, let me pull you in here, but just add this. What Debbie is saying with regard to, Latino women feeling very strongly about this, My fear is that all that has to happen is that the Republican candidate in the race, no matter what his voting record on gun rights is, just has to sort of hammer on socialism and communism and create fear about Black Lives Matter, and suddenly the argument shifts. How do you keep the argument focused on this? And do you agree with her that this can be and is an issue that voters will vote on one way or the other?
If you look at the one of the current political battles happening in Florida and across the country right now, the battle for the suburbs, gun safety is one of the top issues that Democrats are going to use to go after those more educated, affluent, diverse suburban voters. We know that's going to be a group of people in Florida that's going to help decide this upcoming Senate race, and then the presidential race in 2024. We know that this issue is very important to them. They're sick of their kids going through the lockdown drills. They're sick of the school shootings. They're sick of these cycles of violence in their communities, and they know that one of the reasons that this is happening is that too many Republican politicians accept millions of dollars from the NRA, from the gun lobby, while sitting on their hands when they're supposed to be doing their job, protecting their constituents.
This issue of suburban women in particular, it's clear to me, I can see what the Republican strategy is going to be for them. And it does involve schools, and it involves the issue of choice when it comes to mandates regarding masks and school closings and vaccinations. Those are the issues. In other words, empowering parents. That's the theme that Republicans are going to clearly be running on, is empowering parents to have greater control over their children's lives when it comes to schools, whether it's in school curriculum or wearing a mask. That seems to be, so if Republicans are arguing that, and Democrats are talking about safety in schools with regard to gun violence, those become two very different competing elements, and I'm not sure the Democrats win that argument. Tell me why you think the Democrats will win that argument, Peter.
Yeah, it's the old adage, don't think of an elephant, right? Where there are areas where Republicans are stronger and Democrats are weaker, and I'm not an expert in the politics of school choice by any means, but I do know that parents want to protect their kids. And there is nothing more important for a parent than ensuring that their children are going to school in a place that's safe, where they're not going to be traumatized by these drills, they're not going to be scared by active shooters. I went through an act of gun violence. My then boss, Gabby Giffords, was shot in the head. But it was, years later when it became all the more personal for me, when I myself became a parent. And that is a feeling, a sense of protection that obviously millions of Americans who are also, very eager voters also share. And it cuts outside of politics. It goes to your sort of core values, not even as an American, but as a parent, that you just want to protect your kids. And the levels of frustration that you feel when you look at politicians, unwilling to join you in helping protect your children is one of the most motivating things that we've seen when sending Americans to the ballot box.
Debbie, I know this is a personal issue for you as well. I know your story, but for those who don't, talk about, what happened with your father, and then circle back and talk about that issue that I raised earlier about the idea that Republicans are going to run on parental freedom when it comes to schools, and that's going to be their outlook into the suburbs, and how that will compete against the message you're trying to send now.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And as you know, I lost my father to gun violence when I was 24 years old. And it's a pain that I carry with me every single day. It's one of the reasons why I decided to run for Congress back in 2018. And I can tell you that Floridians in my district supported the issue at the time. And I think that it's going to be the same in 22 and in 24. I have met multiple parents that have lost their children to gun violence. And now I can call them my dear friends, because it's a pain that really links all of us. Only if you've gone through it do you understand that even though time helps heal, the pain is always there, and you never forget what you go through. I've been speaking with Manny and Patricia Oliver, who lost their son Joaquin. He was the same age of my son at the time. And it's really a deep friendship now, and we're committed to working together on this issue. I can tell you, Jim, that there is no freedom in America when parents are worried every day when they send their kids to school that they may be shot or that they may lose their lives. In South Dade, the district that I used to represent, we had some of the highest rates of gun violence for kids under the age of 18. We are losing over 100 Americans, many of them children, to the senseless acts of gun violence. There is no greater right than the right to protect the lives of our children.